The CEO had mastered silence. 30,000 feet above the clouds, he stared at his phone without seeing it, hiding from the ache that Christmas Eve always brought. The cabin hummed softly, festive lights blinking, families laughing, everything he wasn't. A small voice broke through. "Mom said lonely people need friends." He turned. A little boy sat beside him, feet dangling, eyes bright with curiosity. His mother smiled apologetically, but the boy wasn't done. "You look lonely," he added, as if stating a fact. "Do you want to be my friend for the flight?" The CEO almost laughed. Almost. Instead, something tightened in his chest. "I suppose I could," he said. They talked. About snowmen and superheroes. About how the boy missed his dad, who worked overseas, and how Christmas was still special because we make room for people. The CEO listened, surprised at how easy it felt to answer honestly. He admitted he worked too much. That he'd forgotten how to sit still with someone. Mid-flight, turbulence shook the plane. The boy reached out and held the CEO's hand without asking. "It's okay," he whispered. "Friends help." That simple touch did what boardrooms and bonuses never could. The CEO felt seen. When they landed, the boy handed him a folded paper. Inside was a crayon drawing, 3 stick figures under a Christmas tree. "Friends," it said. "So you don't forget." The boy smiled. The CEO didn't. That night, instead of returning to an empty penthouse, he called his sister for the first time in years. He donated quietly to a children's shelter near the airport. And every Christmas Eve after that, he flew coach. Because one child had reminded him that loneliness isn't cured by success, only by kindness shared. The city looked colder from the penthouse windows that night. Snow dusted the streets below, tiny lights flickering like distant stars. The CEO stood still, coat still on, the crayon drawing clutched in his hand. For years, Christmas Eve had ended this way, quiet, untouched, empty. But this time, the silence felt heavier. He took out his phone and scrolled past hundreds of contacts. Lawyers. Executives. Assistants. None of them felt right. Then he saw a name he hadn't dialed in nearly a decade. Emily. His sister. His thumb hovered. Old arguments surfaced, missed birthdays, unanswered messages, a father's funeral he'd left early for a meeting. Success had demanded sacrifices, he told himself. But suddenly, the excuse sounded hollow. He remembered the boy's voice on the plane. "We make room for people." The line rang twice. "Hello?" Emily's voice came, cautious, unsure. It's me," he said quietly. Silence stretched. Then a soft inhale. "I didn't think you'd ever call again." "I almost didn't," he admitted. "But I should have. A long time ago." They talked. Awkwardly at first. Then more freely. She told him about her kids, about the chaos and joy of Christmas morning, about how their mother still set an extra plate at dinner, just in case. His throat tightened. "I don't deserve that," he said. "No," Emily replied gently. "But we save it anyway." After the call, he sat down, something unfamiliar warming his chest. That night, he booked a flight, not for business, not for profit, but for Christmas morning. Before sleeping, he placed the drawing on his desk. 3 stick figures under a tree. Friends. For the first time in years, the CEO didn't dread Christmas Day. He was quietly looking forward to it. Christmas morning arrived with a crisp, sparkling chill. The city streets were lively, carolers humming, children tugging at their parents' hands. The CEO stepped out of the taxi with a small duffel bag, nerves fluttering in his chest. He hadn't felt this, alive in years. Emily opened the door, surprise and hesitation crossing her face. "You came," she said softly. "I promised the boy on the plane," he replied, a small smile breaking through. Inside, the house was chaos, wrapping paper scattered, half-eaten cookies, and laughter spilling from every corner. Her kids froze when they saw him. One little girl, no older than the boy on the plane, ran forward and hugged him tightly. "Uncle!" she exclaimed, and for a moment, the years of solitude melted away. They spent the morning decorating the tree, sipping hot chocolate, and reading Christmas stories. The CEO listened, laughed, and even joined in the snowball fight outside. Each small act felt like a thread sewing his heart back together. Later, Emily noticed him staring at the small stack of gifts under the tree. "You've given them time," she said gently. "And that's the best gift you can give." He realized she was right. For too long, he had measured life in profits and losses, contracts and meetings. But the real wealth, the warmth, the love, the shared laughter, was finally within reach. That evening, as snowflakes settled on the roof, the CEO sent a quiet message to the boy from the plane. "Thank you for reminding me what matters. I'm never flying solo on Christmas again." Sometimes, it took a child's innocence to open the heart of someone who had forgotten how to feel. And in that simple act of kindness, the CEO discovered a truth he had long ignored: friendship and compassion could turn even the loneliest Christmas into something unforgettable. The afternoon sun melted into a golden glow as the CEO stepped outside with Emily's kids, tossing snow into the crisp air. Laughter echoed through the quiet neighborhood, carrying a warmth he hadn't known he missed. Then, a knock at the door startled him. He opened it to find a small, shivering figure, wrapped in a worn coat, clutching a tattered backpack. The boy from the plane stood there, eyes wide and hopeful. "I wanted to see if you kept your promise," he said softly. The CEO knelt down, heart swelling. "I did," he said. "Come inside. You're part of this Christmas now." Inside, the boy's mother peeked in, gratitude shining in her eyes. She had been struggling, working multiple jobs to make ends meet, barely able to provide a Christmas at all. The CEO didn't hesitate. He offered them a warm meal, a place by the fire, and most importantly, his time. The children played together, snowflakes glinting on their hair, and the CEO realized something remarkable. This wasn't just about giving. It was about connecting, about turning loneliness into companionship, sorrow into joy. The small act of kindness he had shown on the plane had multiplied, touching lives far beyond what he imagined. By evening, the house buzzed with happiness. The CEO watched the boy and Emily's kids exchange gifts, their laughter echoing like a chorus of hope. He felt a soft tug at his sleeve and looked down. The boy held out the crayon drawing he had given him before. "For your Christmas," he said simply. For the CEO, it was more than a drawing. It was proof that compassion, no matter how small, could spark miracles. That night, he didn't return to an empty penthouse. He returned to a home filled with laughter, love, and the realization that true wealth wasn't measured in success, but in the hearts you touch. The following morning, the city streets sparkled under a fresh layer of snow. The CEO walked beside Emily and her children, hand in hand, feeling a joy he hadn't known in years. Even the little boy from the plane skipped along, proudly showing off his drawing to everyone they passed. He realized that Christmas had transformed from a day he dreaded into a season of connection. The small act of kindness on the flight had rippled outward, creating bonds he never expected. He laughed freely as children chased each other, tossing snowballs and squealing with delight. Later, Emily's mother arrived, eyes brimming with tears. "You've made this Christmas unforgettable," she whispered to him. The CEO only smiled, understanding that it wasn't him alone. It was the children, the innocence and trust they offered, that had restored something lost in his heart. Before leaving, he knelt down to the little boy and said softly, "You reminded me how important it is to have friends. And not just for Christmas. Always." The boy grinned. "Mom said lonely people need friends. And now you have lots of them." Something in that simple statement stayed with him. He realized that friendship, kindness, and shared moments of joy were far more valuable than any achievement or fortune. That day, he promised himself to never forget the lesson: a child's honesty and courage could awaken even the coldest heart. As he stepped back into his car, the CEO looked at the snow-covered streets with a new perspective. Life was no longer a boardroom of lonely decisions. It was a living, breathing story of connection, laughter, and love. That Christmas Eve, He had discovered a truth that would guide him forever. Sometimes, it takes a small hand reaching out to remind you that no one truly has to be alone. And with that, the CEO finally felt at home.